Time to see the big city? Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess K. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 3 of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. And I've been really enjoying this so far. The first 2 episodes have been just extremely hyped to me. This series is definitely fighting to be one of my top favorites of the season. And just of current memory, if I'm being honest, it's just ending up being a really, really good show. And that's not a surprise. As I've been saying, with it being by Hiromu Arakawa, it's really expected. But I like seeing that it is receiving a lot of attention as well for both being by Hiromu Arakawa and because it's just well done. Studio Bones is obviously, a really good studio. Maybe not the best necessarily, but really good. And they're definitely nailing this this anime adaptation. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. We're heading away from the village now. Now that Yuru has found out that the Asa he knew his entire life was a lie, pretty much everything he knew his entire life was a lie. The world is definitely more modern than he could ever be prepared for, and I'm very excited for the fish out of water stuff. Which I assume we're going to get quite a bit of in this episode. And it's probably not just going to even be only him. But I'm interested to see how the left and the right adapt to everything too. On top of that, we got to look at the other organization. I'm not going to call them the enemy organization because from what we can tell, they're not bad guys. But Asa and Gabby's, I guess, boss maybe, or at least squad leader or something. I didn't recognize right off the bat last time, but I since found out, and I don't remember if I actually looked it up by the end of last episode, but just in case I didn't, he is voiced by Jerry Jewell, who you might know as the voice of Claire Stanfield from Baccano. You might also know him as Barry the Chopper from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. But probably his most famous role is the voice of Jimmy Kudo in Case Closed, also known as Detective Conan. In the original English dub of Case Closed, he voiced Jimmy Kudo, and though he didn't voice the childlike version as Conan Edogawa, he did still voice the voice in the head. The Jimmy Kudo voice that was still in Conan Edogawa's head. So technically he retained the voice throughout the entire series, up to when the original dub ended, which I'm not 100% sure how many episodes that ended up being. But he's done a lot of other voice acting roles as well, like Caesar Clown in One Piece, and he's a great VA. Um, I noticed there's another reactor I watched react to the second episode who noted that his voice sounded like almost off. The other reactor didn't know like who the VA was at the time, but thought his voice sounded a little off and weird. And I noticed that too when watching. He sounds like he's being almost monotone and quiet, like in a weird way. And I'm kind of anticipating that that's intentional. We don't know enough about the character right now. But I'm anticipating that that's maybe intentional, and maybe his voice is gonna be important, and him like actually letting loose with it is gonna be a big moment. I don't know. There could be a number of reasons. But it's definitely not like the same kind of performance that I'm used to with Jerry Jules. So it's probably just because of the character and how the character is supposed to sound. But none of the other VAs have felt like a little off, a little weird like that. All of them have been doing a fantastic job, and I'm obviously excited to see where this continues to go. So, that all being said, I think we should just get into this and check it out. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Afterthoughts. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So we're starting to get a few more answers. One, we find out what the ability that Asa was using was, that it wasn't a Daemon ability, but it was something called Break. It has the power to basically take anything apart, whether it be some physical barrier, whether it be stone or a lock or a door. It breaks whatever it comes in contact with. It's a force of just basically pure destruction. But there's also a power that's the literal opposite of that. That apparently they haven't been awakened together because it would become paradoxical and could cause like catastrophic issues. I forgot what the other one was called. It was like Mend or something like that. But it literally does the opposite. It brings things together. It connects. It fixes. So I assume that Yuru is going to unlock this ability. I assume it pretty much has to go that direction. But these are two abilities that are kind of separate, it seems, from Daemon abilities, though there might still be a connection. But we also learn about the night that the parents left. We get to see a little bit of it, and apparently they left in a hurry. They were really scared. They looked freaked out. We don't know what happened or why they were leaving and why they only took Asa. But when they took her, they were hiding her in a basket. So it was maybe they just weren't able to bring both of them because of that. And they did look back on the village, so I'm wondering like exactly what the deal with that is. We find out that Yuru and Asa's mom wasn't originally from the village, and that she kind of just stumbled upon it accidentally while wandering, despite the insanely convoluted way you find the village. So it's pretty wild. But on top of that, we also find out like the name of the two clans. So apparently, Higashi Village was kind of like this singular group at first, and segregated into two clans of differing ideologies. There's the Tadera clan, which is the ones that Yuru is traveling with now, and the Kagimori clan, who are the ones that Asa is with. And we don't know all the details of how their ideologies differ, but we know that they clearly have different views on how to handle, I guess, the entire twins sundered by day and night thing, because it's very clear that the Kagimori clan want to try and take Yuru back with them for whatever their purpose is. And the Tadera clan have just been trying to stop that from happening. The Tadera clan are basically the main village still. Those who are still with Higashi Village seem to still be part of that like side of things. So that's interesting. We also find out Dera's full name is Ryu Tadera. And him being part of the clan is why he knows how to get to the village and why he can come and go despite the barrier and whatnot. We assume there's other members of the clan we just haven't seen yet, and I assume we're going to. But for now, I think it's just kind of sticking with those two who are, for the sake of hiding things, they're going to pretend to be Yuru's parents, which Hana is not super fond of, because apparently she doesn't want to even pretend to be married to Dera. Because the only man for her is Jason Statham, of all fucking people, of all fucking actors to go with. You go with Jason Statham? Does Hiromu Arakawa just have a big crush on Jason Statham? Maybe that's it. It's like, I'm not saying he's like unattractive or anything. It's just like, he would not be my first choice by any means. But maybe that's just my tastes. Like, I would easily go for like, I don't know, Idris Elba well above him. God, what is his name? Oh my god, I can't think of his name. It is gonna like bother the shit out of me if I don't figure it out. Ewan McGregor. That's it. Ewan McGregor would be another great choice. There's just a lot. If we're talking specifically male actors and everything, or male celebrities in general, there's a lot of them out there who I would just very much choose over Jason Statham. Like, that's just an odd choice to me. But hey, everybody's into who they're into, and so I was not expecting that. It was like such a weird sudden call out. Just to call out a real life actor like that. Um but yeah, it's really, really interesting that lore we're getting to this already. Because I was expecting a lot of this to not be revealed yet, but it makes sense that Dara and Hana would want to give as much info to him as they could. Outside of just like explaining to him what like onigiri is um and how a phone works, or how to use a bathroom. It's like they seem like good people, and they would definitely want to explain to him what they know. Not to mention the left and the right are obviously going to explain what they know because they're, serving Yuru. Um and I like how we're not like trying to like give them other names, by the way. Um we even brought that up. It's like Yuru's like, "What do I call you?" And they're like, "Whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter to us." And it's like they felt like the Lord right and Lady left was a little too a little too formal. And so he's just like, "Okay, right and left." And it's like it's just that simple. which I think it should be. Trying to give them like more, for lack of a better word, human names and everything would feel off to me for some reason. Like, we've already been introduced to them, and their names have been said so often they are the right and the left. And that's all they need to be. It gives them a unique identity. It's super memorable. It's just, it feels like them. And so I don't feel like trying to give them other names would make any sense. Trying to call them by anything else just would not work in my eyes. They are the right and the left. And you can obviously take out the and just say right or right and left, but I like adding the in there. I don't know, I just like that. Oh, goodness, dog. Dog had to bark at the mail person so badly, I think she moved the couch a little. But yeah, this definitely gave us a lot of the fish out of water stuff I wanted as well. We got to see just Yuru just adjusting to everything and even starting to explain stuff to right and left after Dara and Hana explained to him. And I like that. We really didn't get too much of the Kagimori clan this time. We didn't get any Asa and Gabby. We only got a little bit of Jean because it wanted to show off his abilities. And I don't know if this is like sorted out in the same way, paced in the same way in the original manga, or if they're moving things around a little bit compared to how Arakawa originally wrote it. Because I know Fullmetal Brotherhood switched things around and cut out a couple things here and there. But I think it's smart to show that off now. Because it gives us a little bit of on top of explaining the Kagemori clan and the Tadara clan's differences in this episode to some degree, it gives us like almost an intimidation level with Jean. It makes him seem a little more freaky, but also makes him seem kind of nice. Because the job he took was to take out this woman's stalker who, as we saw, was trying to kill her. I don't know if they were like exes or whatnot, or if there was just some kind of history there. Maybe it was a one-sided thing and he always had a thing for her, but she never reciprocated, or maybe he just like was stalking her the entire time and it's just a crazy person. But either way, Jean, like, basically being tasked as an assassin to take him out, like, it shows that this guy, this stalker, is a terrible, evil person who, again, was going to, like, just very casually commit murder. And so you don't feel bad about it. It paints, like, again, with this job and with Jean calling the client afterwards, it paints him as doing something that is more or less good. Obviously, in like reality in the real world, you wouldn't necessarily say it's like, oh, a stalker should automatically be, you know, have an assassin sent after them, should automatically be killed for something like that. But at the same time, it's like, it's one, it's fiction. A lot more can be gone away with than in reality. And two, it's, again, if this guy was murderous enough, like, he could have maybe escaped, like, being imprisoned, or he could have just been a threat that could have, like, threatened other people as well. It might have been the best choice. But yeah. And then afterwards, when there was that one woman, because it said that, like, there's very few people who can, outside of the clans and stuff, who can see Daemons. But then you see this one woman getting on the elevator, and she happens to see Jean's Daemons, the fish, the angler fish. And she's obviously, like, paralyzed with fear, which is probably, like, a really realistic reaction. Like, seeing something like that would probably make you just completely... Well, I guess it depends on the person. But there's a lot of people that would be just completely frozen. They wouldn't scream. They wouldn't be like panicked and running. There are a lot of people who will freeze. And it's just like be completely still in their fear and not be screaming, not being able to say or like really shout anything. It's it's a completely valid response. Like, people think that there's only two kinds of responses to shit like this, fight or flight, and there's absolutely not. There's so many different responses to this kind of thing. To not only just fear, but any kind of like negative emotional confrontation, something that like really throws you off or upsets you or whatnot. Not only is there fight or flight, but there's people who shut down when confronted with this kind of emotional turmoil. I'm one of those. I can speak to that. And there's people who don't just like emotionally shut down like myself, but there's people who will just like kind of like freeze. It's like they're afraid, but they can't quite flee. They can't quite run away because they're in this state of like almost like physical shock to where they just can't. Their body is not responding to the emotional stimuli going through their heads. And it's a completely valid response. And I like that she didn't just run and scream or something like that. And you see Jean come up behind her, notes that she can see it. He doesn't attack her or anything. He just like basically tells her to keep quiet about it. Because, like, you know, one, who would believe her anyway? And two, like, he's not going to attack some random innocent woman. Like, why would he do that? Again, it's making it pretty clear through Jean's portion in this episode, as small as it was, that he's not necessarily a bad guy. I'm almost kind of getting the vibe that the Kagemori clan are maybe the more aggressive clan, and that's where the ideological differences kind of reside. Because, again, we didn't get any specifications on that kind of thing. But I'm wondering if, like, that's the kind of a different ideology here. That they're more aggressive and more, like, willing to take certain actions that the Tadara clan don't agree with. That they're not comfortable with. That they find even maybe immoral or unethical. And the Kagemori clan are just willing to do that stuff. Because we've seen that kind of thing in various media here and there, where there's like two sides that aren't necessarily like, okay, one side's like just good and one side's just bad. But no, they have different ideologies where one side is just, more pacifistic and the other side is more aggressive. And it's not even just like with like organizations and clans and whatnot. You even see this with like differences in like main characters between different shows of various franchises. Like obviously an example you could go with is Aang and Korra in the Avatar shows. Aang is obviously much more pacifistic and diplomatic, and Korra is much more aggressive. Though both of them kind of have to break those rules of their own at times. And Korra ends up becoming more pacifistic by the end. Letting go of a lot of the anger and emotion that drove her violence and physicality. And Aang just basically refused to like stay away from his pacifism and, only fought when necessary, and even then never really committed to it. I'm not going to get into this entire argument again. This is the wrong show for that. I'm not gonna start shit about that here. I'll start shit about that elsewhere. But yeah. and it's been in various other things. Like you could still compare, like you could even compare like differences with like the JoJo's from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Each one is kind of their own character and has different takes on how violent to be and stuff. All of them definitely act on violence to some degree. But like Jotaro is aggressively more violent than Joseph. Joseph will fight when he needs to, but he is more of a quick-witted, charismatic talker. But Jotaro is like punch first, ask questions later. Josuke is kind of a mix between the two. He kind of like is in the middle of Jotaro and Joseph. Jonathan is more of the action type of guy. He fights more, but he does so only against those who he knows to be like bad and stuff. He's very gentlemanly. And then you have Jolene, who is very much like her father, but I'd actually say like she's not quite to the same level as him. She's not quite as punch happy as her father is. But she is not afraid to fight by any means. And then I can't say about Johnny yet because only one fucking episode of Steel Ball Run has been released because Netflix is being fucking idiots. Again, not the time. That's a completely different issue for a completely different video. Still really irritated about it though. But yeah, I like seeing like just the differences between kind of things like that, whether it's the Kagemori and Tadara clan in this, or even just Asa and Yuru being shown to be very different. Because, like Yuru, obviously, like when he saw the village being threatened, he went right into action and started shooting at the attackers. But he was doing so out of defense of the village and its people. He wasn't just attacking them all willy nilly. Meanwhile, we see that the Kagemori clan were willing to attack all just like innocent people. And my thoughts were like, oh, maybe they're not innocent. Maybe there's a lot more to this. And from what we're gathering, no, I don't think that's quite actually it. From what we're gathering in this episode, I think it might be a case of like, it's like a greater good ideology for them. It's like, Gabby's not going to kill kids. Asa probably wouldn't either. But it's like a lot of these soldier rank members of the clan, I guess, or I guess maybe they're even hired by the clan. Maybe they're not clan members specifically, but they're like, they don't give a shit. It's like, we're hired to go in and everybody's expendable except Yuru. Yeah, we're gonna go straight into killing them. And again, it might be just kind of the difference of ideology. The Kagemori clan might be more willing to kill people, while the Tadara clan might not be willing to kill people if they can help it at all costs. That's the vibe I'm getting from it. But I guess we'll see. We'll get more information as this goes along for sure. In the meantime, tell me your thoughts in the comments below on episode 3 of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. And as always, if you have read the manga or know anything about this going forward, no spoilers, please. I haven't even seen, like, outside of, like, the first trailer for this. Because I've been wanting to avoid spoilers. And I've never read the manga. And I don't really plan to because I'm not personally a fan of manga as a medium. It's just a personal taste thing, I guess. But yeah. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See you all next time.